sell first and then you have your options.
Yeah, I would not buy first in this environment. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the 5-Star Podcast, where we talk about all things Toronto real estate. And today, well, we're talking about market stats for June, I guess, right?
Yeah, and our experiences in the summer, right?
Okay, so what's happening in the market today? Let's see some numbers.
So volume is down, 11%. Typically, we're from 7,000 in May to 6,200, just over 6,200 in June. From year to year, so 2023 to 2024, that's a negative 16% decrease. Because last year in June, it was about 7,400.
Okay.
In terms of active listings, from May, we reported last time that 22,000 listings, and now we're at 23,000.
So it's up a little bit.
Well, it keeps building. It's not getting depleted. It keeps adding to it.
Yeah, so that was
snowballing a little bit.
Yeah, it was about an 8.5% increase with active listings, right? So that actually increases it almost to 4 months of inventory now.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and average sale price is down slightly, but the same. It's pretty flat though. Last year, June was like actually the busiest month, higher month, and then after June, it started to drop.
Right around July, I think last July was when it started dipping really, really hard. Like last year's interest rates really caught up right around like when all the ones that were previously selling at lower prices and lower rates, and buyers still had their pre-approvals. Once that kind of passed, the 3 months passed, that's when it started going dry.
Because after June, the last increase, then everything just went slowly
everyone
downhill.
had to, anyone that couldn't buy anything had to get another pre-approval, but at a much higher rate.
Correct. Yeah. Everyone was racing to get into the market. Yeah. It was interesting. Yeah. But I mean, the sentiment in the market right now, what are you guys finding? Is it slow, really slow, like it's picking up? Like, what are you guys feeling right now?
I think that overall the market has slowed down quite a bit. But I find that condo market is a little bit more severe. There's more inventory. There's more.
Actually, let's just share the stats for the condos. I was able to break out the stats this time.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Out of the 23,000 active listings, there's just over 10,000 condos for sale. So
just in the GTA or
just the GTA. So all the different regions. So Halton, Peel, York, Toronto, basically all these areas here that equates to about just over 10,000. So at about 44% of the overall active listings that are condos.
That's kind of surprising. You would think it's higher?
You would think it's higher.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it was higher. In fact, actually, it's been decreasing. So the ratio between the condos versus freehold, it's been decreasing. So from, believe it or not, since February, it was at about 55%. So more active listings, more active listing compared to freeholds. Then it started decreasing to 53, 50, 45, 44. Now we're at about 40.
So what does that
43.
mean? So condos are selling better? or
maybe they're just taking it off the market because they're not selling.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's very interesting that like we're seeing a bit of a drop with condo volume in terms of listings.
Because in terms of sales, I don't think they're kind of suffering right now. I don't think a lot of people are buying condos. I think you're right. They may be just taking it off the market and just that's kind of skewing the data.
Sellers have a certain expectation. If they're not getting it, why keep it on there indefinitely? Like just take it off now and wait for another drop.
So the way I see it is condos, if you own a condo, if you are in a position to hold out and take it off the market, that's maybe a phenomenon that the inventory dropped a little bit. Some of the homes may be priced a little bit higher. And if the seller is not in a position to hold on because maybe their renewal's coming up, they can't afford the new payment structure, the renewal, they're forced to sell at a lower price.
Well, yeah, that's definitely the financial pressure has always been a reason why people are looking to sell right now, if it's on the market. But there's probably a decrease in inventory or decrease in condo inventory, just because, well, not the decrease, but like a decrease in ratios, because a lot of to your point is that a lot of these sellers are probably not getting what they want. So they're just holding on to it and just continue to rent it out. right? Which is actually, interesting because the rental market is pretty flooded with inventory right now. Have you guys noticed that?
It is, but I find rentals still pretty okay compared to sales. So just to give you an example, I had a 2-bedroom condo downtown listed for sale, and it was getting not much showings at all, right? After 2 months. And then we put it on the market for lease, and it leased out in 2 days with multiple offers. So
was this recently?
Yeah.
Like a week ago or
last month.
Oh, interesting.
So it's interesting because I ran to a lot of scenarios like this where people are not getting the prices they want for their condos. So they opted to lease it out. And this is just one of many examples that I've heard of.
Because my experience is that during the second quarter, I found that the rental market was a little bit slow. So around like May, June, it was a little bit slow. And it started to pick up in July. But like prices have actually started increasing. So in May and June, we're seeing the prices starting to decrease for the second quarter. Now I'm starting to see the prices start to trend back upwards. Are you guys witnessing that same thing or?
Honestly, man, I've always found the rental market to be pretty good. I don't know, like the stats say otherwise, but every time I list something, like I always get like multiples. So
it's the Kenny effect.
I don't know, maybe.
I experienced similar, to be honest.
Around April, May, June, it was really slow. I had a few listings up, a few rental listings up, and I had to decrease a lot of my prices to get the properties rented because the market rent was, so much in like February, March, but then the volume of tenants started to decrease. I don't know why. My showings were down. So I had to lower my price to get them rented out because then now the showings were starting to pick back up. But now, like I'm seeing, as I still have up 4 listings for rent right now, and yeah, like I have to.
Any showings on those?
Yeah, I'm getting more showings. If I price it low, then like we're getting a lot of showings.
Low as in below market, or just low as in
like
just
$50,
right?
like $50 below market value.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah,
all right.
Then I'll get a lot more
really?
viewings. Yeah,
$50 moves the needle.
It actually does.
It's interesting.
It's very interesting in that perspective. But yeah, like if I have it at market value, nobody's really coming. It's so strange. Honestly, I don't even understand why.
$50 like free internet included. It's like,
well, they even at $50, they try to throw in like, oh, can I pay a little less, or because they see maybe you're hurting. You reduce the rent.
No,
everyone
it's
else
still
is
based
up.
on. I mean, I'm still seeing there's a lot of volume of rentals on the market right now. I mean, it is rental season at this point. July and August is generally rental season.
Yeah.
So we're still a lot of volume. So in order for me to get the best tenant for my client, I have to lower it just slightly,
just to attract more,
more tenants, and I can get the best quality tenant.
Wait, this is kind of first time I'm hearing this. Why is the summer the rental season per se? Like why? Why are people renting in the summer?
I don't know why.
My take is actually like people are prepping for September, so they're just starting to look for
people
like
with kids with schools. Is that it?
Yeah,
students.
But like a guy working Bay Street is not gonna move in the summer for no reason, right? Like,
or it could be like, so the thing is, like because of the school, because of the units that generally renew around September.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
not
that they purposely want September, but that's when the leases are actually up.
Actually,
so they have to kind of
around this time of the year, like in the summertime, that's when people start. Like a lot of companies start hiring, and they start making like more changes in their company because it's slower, right? It's July and August is generally a bit slower, so people are job transferring, people are transitioning from schools or to school, right, or leaving the area for school or for different reasons, right? So there's a lot of movement around this time of the year.
Oh, interesting.
So here's the question. So like right now we're right in the middle like of summer. We're in July. Like obviously kids are out. They're just on vacation. How do you guys find, like, are you guys busy during this time? Are you guys taking a little bit of a break, or what's happening?
I'm
like
usually quiet, but for some reason this year I'm actually really busy with listings. So a lot of people are like wanting the list for homes for sale. I mean, they're kind of adding more to the inventory.
So they just call you up, Kenny, and it's like, hey,
I got a list.
Like, I got to sell.
Yeah, but the problem is, okay, let's just say if you're moving up, right? If you were to advise a client, let's just say to upgrade their home, you would tell them to list first, would you not?
That makes sense.
Yeah, I would not buy first in this environment.
Oh, actually, funny enough is that I had someone that I was talking to actually 2 days ago, and they were looking at a property that was, up for sale. And I'm like, they want to buy. And I'm like, wait, before we buy,
Yeah.
right? Like you have to sell too, right? He's like, yeah. Okay. So if we buy, you just so you know what's going to happen, right? Is that you might be under pressure to sell at a lower price.
So much pressure.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially when you get no showings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And then they started to, they realized what was happening. And then they decided to, okay, you know what, we're just going to wait and see what, like, try to get our property up.
Yeah. They wanted to list it first and then instead of buying first.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So they went the other
That's
way.
good advice.
Yeah.
Good
Because
advice.
I mean, honestly, it's honestly, at the end of the day, it's your client's decision with what they want to do. They want to buy, they can go ahead and buy. Right?
We can advise them
we're just going to advise them and we're going to help them make the right decision, right? Or at least give them the right expectations of what's going to happen. Because if they're going to buy now and even have a longer closing, say 90 to 120 days, right? You're still going to have to sell. And it's funny because some people have the wrong idea of what bridge financing is, right? So they think bridge financing, I can bridge it.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, you need an offer.
Yeah, you need to have
a firm offer before you could bridge. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting that way. But yeah, like it was good advice. Like I found like it's up to them if they want to do it.
Well, unless they have the capability to carry 2 mortgages. Some people do, but a lot of people don't, especially in this rate environment.
I think they actually do because they have a very, very minimal amount of mortgage on their existing property now.
Okay.
So they could probably do it, but it's going to leave a lot of stress.
Yeah, no, it makes sense because in a low rate environment, a lot of people are buying first and then selling, but everyone's like, okay, I gotta get rid of my condo first. I need the cash, and then I'm gonna comfortably go and buy.
Well, yeah, I mean, it all depends on the market. If it's a seller's market, then yeah, you buy first because it'll take you a week to sell. Actually, what would you guys advise a seller if they do need to sell or that they want to sell? What would you advise them today?
So I actually just had a recent sale where they were very motivated to sell because they had a mortgage renewal. They obviously don't want to renew at the new rates. My advice was it's actually better for you to take a little bit of a cut right now. The math works out that if you were to renew at a higher price and then eventually break it, it's actually going to cost you more than just taking a cut right now. Yeah, because they had it rented out. My rent's not going to cover. With the new renewals, I'm going to be in the hole. And even though they can cover it,
doesn't make sense.
Why cover it?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because you're subsidizing over $1,000.
Like from their eyes as an investor, they're like, it doesn't make sense. I don't mind taking off like $15K off my ask as long as I don't have to. Yeah, as long as I have, I don't have to renew it at triple the rates. And eventually, let's say even a price that goes above their asking, when they break it, they're already breaking even. It makes no sense.
Yeah, as for an investor, I guess that makes sense for an investor's perspective.
Yeah.
Right? They're selling.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Do you think it's a good time for investors to buy?
That's the $1 billion question, right?
Whether it's for commercial or for residential, if you can find someone that's desperate enough that's willing to take that little bit of a haircut, it is a good time. You should be actively hunting for that deal because there are deals. Of course, there's a lot more listings. So right now, I think last time we were talking, there's a lot of people. Like right now, the assignment market is super active. There's a lot of distressed sellers. They can't close, or they're just unwilling to close. Maybe they just wanted to put the down and wanted to flip the property. And
so I like just anecdotally, there are several conversations that I've had. There are buyers actively asking me, seeking assignments that are like in desperate need of offloading or transferring to get their money out. And if they are successful in finding prices that were buyers that are or sellers rather that are desperate and they purchase their condos maybe 3-4 years, they get a rollback in terms of the purchase price. Because if they're not getting any very little appreciation on that purchase
or none,
these buyers that are seeking the assignments, they get a deal in that sense, and they're able to either flip it at a later time when the market gets better, or they can just totally rent it out, assuming that they don't get the mortgage. They just buy it outright from a developer. They just get cash flow.
Yeah,
just like a REIT.
Rich clients.
Well, I'm just saying,
I have a lot of money.
I've gotten an approach. We had this conversation.
Yeah.
I haven't found them any product like that yet, because most often these
They're overpriced though. Yeah, they're a little bit overpriced.
these condos that are in assignment, they're overpriced, and half the time they're priced a little higher. It could be like 1.4 or 1.8.
So they're not really deals in that sense, because the builder already built it in back then when they sold it.
Yeah.
So they already sold at a higher price. And then now that it's almost finished, the valuation is actually lower than resale.
Yeah.
So whether or not you need a mortgage is still not a great deal.
Problem with some of these assignment sales, to your, like, what I'm seeing when I'm looking at these opportunities, it's not even worth, even if they took a haircut of $100,000 off the contract value.
Yeah.
It still doesn't make sense to buy.
Really?
So for certain ones, I agree. But I'm like, back to my point. I'm just saying, like, as an investor, you got to work the numbers. You got to make sure that the property you're looking at, the numbers work out for you.
So I'm seeing a bit of an opportunity, because there's between the price category between 1 million or just under a million to about 1.3, 1.4. There's like a bit of a merger between two different markets. We have the downsizers that can't afford their bigger homes,
mm-hmm. and
they're selling their properties so they can move into something smaller, so it becomes more affordable for them. So they're looking at townhouses, semi-detaches, smaller detached homes,
mm-hmm.
right in that pricing category. But then there's also a lot of these condo sellers that are trying to get into their freehold property for the first time.
So they're moving up.
They're moving up.
Okay.
So now there's like a big merger, and I'm seeing that the most active market right now is that market. Townhomes, detaches, semis, right? That's probably the busiest like transactions right now. That's probably happening right now. So I'm seeing the price is actually kind of flat right now, but I'm seeing that there's still activity in that market. But if it's larger properties, if it's a condo, it's not really moving.
Like large, expensive condos, you mean?
Even regular small condos.
Okay.
They're still not moving.
Yeah. Like right now, like obviously the market's in a weird spot. Now for buyers and sellers, like how do we proceed for the rest of summer? We have 2 months worth of summer. What would you advise buyers and sellers to do right now?
Well, it's going to be quiet for the rest of the summer. If you were to upgrade, try to sell first, but list it at a realistic, price. Don't look at last year's pricing or 2022's pricing. List at today's pricing. And
within the last 90 days, I think that would be fair, right?
Yeah, within the last 90 days. Yeah. Yeah. And only when you sell and you get a firm offer and then go out and buy a house.
Right.
That's my suggestion.
That makes sense.
It's less stressful that way.
Yeah. Sell first, and then you have your options. There's so much inventory right now. You can take your time and look at what's available in the market. But that's if you're looking at making a transition, right, from one house to the next. If you're looking at selling because you're an investor,
mm-hmm.
right,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, depending on your situation, right, what's your cash flow situation, what Steve's talking about, and sell at that point. But I find that for buyers right now, there could be a good opportunity for them. If they are going to buy, the prices are generally going to be, may not be at the lowest. I don't know. It still can probably dip a little lower.
Could.
But it's still a good opportunity, because you're probably going to get at one of the lowest prices right now before the market starts to change, right? Because on June 24th, they're going to announce if they're going to do a rate drop or not.
July, you mean?
July
24th. That's what I meant. They're going to change, or they're going to announce the next rate announcement. So if they drop it, then it might change the market sentiment entirely.
Hopefully. I mean, like right now, after that first drop, didn't seem like it moved the needle at all. Most people didn't really change their outlook on the market, and hopefully another drop would kind of.
Well, there's 2 more expected rate drops by the end of the year, so who knows?
If it happens,
if it does happen, then I'll see the market
change,
kind of pick up a little bit more.
Well,
but in general, it's going to be pretty balanced.
Yeah, Steve, what do you think? Rest of the summer,
It's going to be pretty slow before it picks up in the fall. There may be activity. People want to sell, but they may not move.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of dragging their feet, enjoying the weather type of thing.
My outlook for the summer, if you're thinking about selling, most people don't actually know that it does take a lot of time for, like if you're thinking of selling, like not right now, maybe for like fall or whatever, you actually start, you have to start prepping your property now. There's a lot of like renovations, touch-ups, like decluttering that you have to do prior to listing the property on the market. So if you're thinking about maybe September, even October, you got to start doing the work now, because again, you gotta coordinate the contractors, handymen to kind of fix the property, prep it so that you're ready for September and October. That's when like generally the season is a little bit more active anyways. Mm-hmm. But if you're a buyer, you should buy before the next drop in terms of the
so avoid the rush.
Well, we don't know if there's a rush, but it can change people's mentality and just the confidence in the market. Because let's say there's another rate drop coming up in July, and people are like, oh, maybe there's another one coming. Maybe I should buy before. Like, then there's a little bit of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out the window. So maybe start looking now. You don't have to, put the money down right now, but you gotta start knowing what's happening in the market. And I think, just as a last point, like, as a seller, your expectations right now in today's market, it'll take anywhere from 30 to 90 days to sell your property. Don't expect it to sell in a week or 2 weeks, and price it appropriately. And if you can, invest in staging. I think when the market does come up, I think staging would be somewhat effective in differentiating your property from others.
Cool. Good podcast, guys.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Episode.
Later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.